Hello everyone, welcome to Sports Junkies. I'm your host Brian Mansell, joined today by the biggest LeBron stan that we have at Terry TV, Anthony Cerulli.
I'm doing excellent today, Brian, and we'll get to that reason why in a little bit.
Let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. This is exclusively an episode talking about nothing but the NBA Finals, plus special treat for you guys. We're going to give our takes on the LeBron James Michael Jordan debate on who is the real GOAT. Let's get into the real issue here and talk about the NBA Finals overall. Lakers got it in 6. I gotta say, they showed out this series. LeBron and AD did what they had to do. KCP stepped up shooting-wise. Dwight Howard played very well at the center spot. I think everybody overall did really, really well. That really was the downfall for the Heat because everything they tried to do defensively was not working. And because of that, the offensive side of the ball was lacking. The only person who really showed out was, again, Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler came out in the clutch and was doing everything he could to keep Miami involved in this playoff. They really surprised a lot of people. Anthony, let's go through this and figure out why did Miami not win this series and what went wrong for them?
Well, I think Miami lost the series because, and I don't mean this because I'm a LeBron fan at all, I think the Lakers are this year the best team in the NBA. When you have 2 of the top 5 players and you have a great supporting cast around you and a great coach, which I don't think gets enough credit, Frank Vogel, I think you can't go wrong with the Lakers. Ultimately, I think when it comes to Miami, they're a great team. We all know this. We know it because, they made the NBA Finals when nobody thought that they would make it past the first round. When you have someone like Jimmy Butler, I think he really stepped up this year and playing over 40 minutes in every game of the finals. That really is a testament to how vital he is to this team. I think it really all comes down to the youth of the team. They weren't really the favorites going into this series, so you can't really expect them to be the favorites to beat the number 1 team in the NBA. By 2030, I see the Heat at least winning a title, maybe 2, but they're definitely going to be in the finals. They're going to be a contender in the East. And ultimately, I see them being a threat in the NBA.
I could agree with that as well. I really do think that it came down to the youth for them. I think what caused it was Miami failing, not only experience, but I think it was failing to build a game plan that locked down the paint. As many shooters as Lakers may have, right? They may have so-and-so shooters like Caruso can shoot and make plays happen. Rondo can shoot. KCP can shoot. Danny Green can shoot. As much as they have that, their problem is they're inconsistent shooters. So most of the points they get are through the paint. And that would be through LeBron, and that would be through AD. So they get the most of their points off the paint and off fouls. So what you would have to do is lock down the paint with the 2 big men, which would be people like Bam and Myers together. But they didn't work it that way because Spoelstra didn't think about it that way. I guarantee you he didn't. And because of that, that's how the Lakers got the edge early and how they ended up winning ultimately.
I think it was smart to try to contain Anthony Davis and leave LeBron, a little to the side. But that 2-headed monster, there wasn't really any way to stop them. I think that the Heat going forward have a really good, they're going to be able to bring in a lot of free agents and, they have a lot of assets that if they want to trade for someone, they definitely can. So I wouldn't worry about Miami for now. We don't know if the Lakers are going to be the same squad going into next season.
Agreed.
We've already seen, Rondo decline his player option. We've seen KCP decline his player option. There are rumblings that Dwight Howard might be going to the Warriors. So I think what they really need to focus on is, 1, bringing back as much as they can from this season. I think especially you need to try it as hard as you can to bring back guys like Markieff Morris, guys like KCP who can get it done in the finals and when it matters. Guys like those shooters. I think you need to package Danny Green, Kyle Kuzma, and a pick if you have, and get whoever you can that could shoot the 3. You need a consistent number 3 option. I think that's the one piece that if the Lakers want to stay afloat in the 2020-2021 season, that's what they need to do.
Because now comes the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time. MJ LeBron. With this 4th ring for LeBron James, he's now 4-6 all time in the finals, compared to Jordan being 6-0. This now spices up the debate greatly. So now I have to ask you, Anthony, knowing what your answer is probably going to be, who is the GOAT?
The GOAT is obviously Brian Scalabrine.
Who
is the true GOAT? And that is, of course, the man that I'm wearing the jersey of today, LeBron James.
First off, I want to make this clear. I'm not a believer in a GOAT. I'm serious. And this goes with every sport. I don't believe there is such a thing as a GOAT. Because every era is different. It's different rules. It's different players. It's different competition, different teams, different mindsets. Everything changes. Everything's different every era. Let's just go into the numbers now, because I want to explain if I was to make a case why Jordan will always be the GOAT. Jordan, 6-0, 4-6. Personally, I don't care if he goes 10 times. You go 10 times, you got to win. You don't win, that's a garnish on your record, and that goes to everybody. You win a title, it looks good. Finals MVP. Jordan has gotten a Finals MVP in every single year he has won. Same for LeBron James. 4 years he won, he got MVP every time for the Finals. All defensive. MJ, 9. LeBron, 5. Defensive Player of the Year. LeBron has never gotten that. MJ got it. Scoring. LeBron has 1 scoring title. MJ, 10. 10 scoring titles. Steals. MJ is the steals leader 3 times. LeBron has never been the steals leader. Points per game. He beats him by a whole 3 points at about 30.1 in his career. LeBron has played 2 more seasons than MJ in his career. MJ only played 15 seasons. And don't forget, he had 2 comeback campaigns. The games they played is a big difference. MJ only played 1,072 games. LeBron, in his now finishing his 17th season, has played 1,265. That is a 193 game difference that could easily change the stats any way they want to. It's easier to score in the era you're playing now than you were in the 80s and 90s. Because again, the 3-point shot is more embraced now than it was back then. I don't think they embrace it as much as they do now, at all. I don't think there's a time where you could tell me that Jordan played a team in the finals that wasn't good. The team Jordan played in the finals, they were dominant. They were dominant in their conference. Early part of his career, he was not doing well because he didn't get the help he needed. Just like LeBron didn't get the help he needed. And that was the case a lot of the time. They'd make it to the ECF, and they would lose to Detroit because they couldn't match the physicality, because they didn't have someone that could truly back up Michael Jordan. LeBron every time has had someone where that would be his backup guy to get stuff done. Even when he was with Miami, and Miami's the biggest example, that big 3. When he finally got that big 3 he wanted with Rodman in there, it was 96, 97, 98. Mm-hmm. Those 3, okay? Jordan was way later in his career at that point. That was towards where he was almost out at that point. So you got to think about that too. Best peak, MJ. Best longevity of his career, being consistently good, LeBron James. In terms of a GOAT, I always think a peak is better than longevity.
Are we done?
Yes, we're done.
I'm just making sure. You're all good. Because I got some stuff to say. So I'm not going to be looking at the camera. Apologies, but I have a whole script here to read. So we're going to start now. Sure, let's get the obvious out of the way. 6 rings out of 6 finals appearances is incredible, and it's an accolade LeBron will never be able to top. However, let's consider how many attempts it took Jordan to get there. From 1984, his rookie season, to 1990, he did not make the finals thanks to the Pistons practically beating him up each time he went up against them. As Jordan made the playoffs 13 times and only got to the finals 6 times, LeBron has made the playoffs 14 times and got there 10 times. Let's talk about teammates. Sure, LeBron has played with some great all-stars such as Kyrie, Bosh, Love, Wade, and now, of course, Anthony Davis. But I feel that we don't talk enough about how much these players were not in their primes when they played with LeBron, most notably when it comes to Bosh, Love, Wade, even Ray Allen, or that they dealt with injuries or have injury history, such as Kyrie and now AD. Jordan, however, had an elite Scottie Pippen, all 6 championships, along with Rodman for another 3, both of which you can argue were better than LeBron's all-stars for the roles that they had, thus proving that you can't do it alone. What about the rest of the team? Well, we just saw that Danny Green missed the crucial shot that would have iced the game in Game 5, and LeBron was being trashed for making the right play. But guess who made the same play twice in the finals? Michael Jordan. In his second season, Jordan missed over 60 games due to injury, and the Bulls still made the playoffs. Can this introduce Jordan being dealt the better hand as far as the team owners putting a much better supporting cast around him than LeBron has had in his career? Yes. Will I make that argument? Not entirely. What I will tell you is that once LeBron left Cleveland both times for Miami and then Los Angeles, Cleveland was immediately in the lottery the next season both times. When LeBron left for baseball, the Bulls had still made the Eastern Conference Finals both times. Now, why did they go 17 and 65 after 1998? Well, guess who also left the Bulls after the second three-peat? Bill Jackson. Thus, calling to mind that LeBron has never got the privilege to play with an elite coach unless you consider Ty Lue to be an elite coach, which I know we don't. But let's get off of narrative. Statistically speaking, it's still no discussion. Sure, Jordan leads the points per game with 30 and leads steals per game, but here comes LeBron leading in every other statistic possible, making him, at very least, the greatest all-around player of all time. Playoff percentages, same story, though of course LeBron has played more games. 16 out of LeBron's 17 seasons have seen him in an All-NBA team compared to Jordan's 11. All-Star appearances are no different, as well as LeBron just one MVP shy of Jordan's 5. Sure, scoring titles are given to Jordan, but if we're talking about an era that took the regular season far more seriously than our current age, and we got past that discussion already. No, I don't think that this era is softer. I think it's just an era that is better overall. How many All-Stars or Hall of Famers has Jordan gone up against on one team? 2? Malone and Stockton? Try 3. Try 4. Sure, Jordan's competition of Barkley, Peyton, Drexler, Kemp, and a washed Magic Johnson were truly a challenge nonetheless, but are we really going to sit here and act like LeBron's Golden State Warriors matchup of Curry, Durant, Thompson, along with the Spurs matchups and even the Eastern Conference Celtics Big Three aren't as good? In conclusion, you can make the argument for both. Jordan's the greatest player, LeBron's the greatest player. It doesn't matter. But I truly believe that it is a testament to his name that we bypass the argument of why LeBron is the greatest player right now and instead pit him up against the GOATs. Sure, like my dad and my uncle say, there was just this magic about Jordan when he played. And I'm sure they were right. But as much as he complains, flops, as much as we talk about Dallas, not 3 rings, not 4 rings, not 5 rings, there will always be the 3-1 deficit. There will always be him elevating his players to be great. There will ultimately be the kid from Akron, who, in my opinion, is the greatest player of all time. 409. Tough. This whole argument is such a weird argument to make for any player. You know, that's why I agree with you. And I didn't want to say it because I always want to make sure that LeBron is the greatest player of all time. But I agree with you. It's really all a generational thing. So, you know, when you have the 80s, you have the 90s, you have the 2000s, 2010s, the 70s, the 60s, there's a different style and there's a different type of player that is going to dominate the era. I think both of us made some pretty great points. But I think we should revisit this argument a few years from now when LeBron retires and we see how many titles he wins. We see how much he has done in the next few years so that we can truly put him up against Jordan. I think that's what it really comes down to. But for now, I will stick with my boy, LeBron James, as being the greatest of all time.
And I'm not going to bash it because I'm not taking anything away from LeBron's greatness at all.
And I'm not taking anything away from Jordan's greatness. Don't get me wrong.
I think at the end of the day, we should revisit this. However, because I know the people watching this aren't going to believe in that and don't want to wait, why don't you guys go on ahead and tell us in the comments who you think is the real GOAT? Is it Michael Jordan or is it LeBron or is it someone else like Kareem? Which, by the way, there can be a case made for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Oh, of course.
Easily can make a case for that.
It really comes down to, you know, how we view the game of basketball, and everyone views it differently. So myself and Brian, we want to see what you have to say about who is the GOAT in basketball. Type it down in the comments below. So
that's going to do it for us here at Sports Junkies. Thank you, Anthony, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Again, the biggest LeBron stan in our club. I'm so glad you were able to come on today and make this case.
Thank you for having me. I was looking forward to this episode, so can't wait for the rest of the year. Can't wait to see what LeBron does next.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for watching and joining us today. If you're new to the channel, like this video and subscribe to keep up with all of our new content. We'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.